What's up, Game Boys and Girls? Big T here, back with another video, broadcasting from a new location. You haven't seen this one before. You've mostly seen my game room. This is my kind of studio setup I'm going on here. It'll get broader. You'll see more things going on here. And you'll also see the actual game room I'm building downstairs in the basement. That should be a lot of fun. I'm actually doing a video on that soon, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I'm going to be doing videos from multiple locations, trying to change it up a bit in my house. So yeah, but this video today is about digital gaming, and I feel like I've done one of these videos once a year over the last few years. And I just keep reiterating it because you guys know I'm a huge gaming fan. I have a pretty large collection of games. I guess I'm a collector because I guess I'm officially a collector now. I used to be like, I guess I'm a collector, but I've said that because it's like I actually like to play the games that I buy. I'm not just one of those guys that buy things to put in their collection and whatnot. And I don't really buy older stuff much anymore. Occasionally I'll still pick up an old game, but I'm not like out hunting and whatnot. Most of my collection I bought at or around the time, within a few years of these games and consoles coming out. So that's why I don't like to call myself a collector, but at this point I am doing some straight up collecting stuff that I'm basically buying for kind of an investment. And digital games actually helps that investment. So this is where it helps me in one way, where I can buy the game physically, keep it wrapped and keep it sealed, and buy a digital purchase of that game as well. I don't usually, that's not something I do right away. It's not like I'm buying brand new $60 games and then going out and buy a $60. No, I don't do that. But if I have a game, if I have something in mind where I'm like, yeah, I want to get that, collect that physically, and have it stay sealed and get a digital copy later. That's what I'll do, or get a digital copy at first, and then later on realize, yeah, I'm going to get a physical copy, maybe when it's marked down or something like that. So that's a benefit for me as a collector specifically. I don't know if that's a benefit for just an average gamer, because most people don't buy games that way, but for me, that's a benefit. Another benefit is convenience. It is very convenient not to have to get off your gluteus maximus every time you want to play a game, change a game, and that's cool. But those are the only two benefits I can think of. If you can think of more, let me know. So that's why I feel like digital games, or at least a digital-only future, or digital-only games, is anti-consumer, because I can't think of any other benefits other than convenience, and like I said, for collectors, being able to keep sealed games and buy digital games. I can't think of anything else, because one thing is that what should be a benefit isn't really, and what I feel like should be a benefit is the ability to have digital games be cheaper right off the bat, right? Because these companies are not paying for shipping, they're not paying for trucking these games, they're not paying for the plastic that goes around these games, the case and whatnot, any printable media, any of that stuff. They're not paying for any of that. They're not paying for the physical disc itself for these games. So why, if that's the case, why is the digital game still the same price as the physical game? Doesn't make any sense, because you're getting a lot less, and in some ways you're getting a whole lot less, because you have a situation where stores get closed down, and you can no longer download these games. At some point you can no longer purchase these games, or re-download even at some point for these games that you bought. And hard drives have issues. They crash, they need to be replaced, They're mechanical, especially if they're mechanical hard drives. They need to be replaced within a few years. So there's really, real issues can arise pretty quickly. And I know a lot of gamers just don't care. They just, I'll play my game, I'll buy it, I'll get what I get out of it, and I'm done with it. But that's still, even if you don't care about those things, it is still detrimental and antithetical to the consumer, because there used to be a value in buying a video game, right? You could buy the game, play it. If you don't want it anymore, you could trade it in, right? Can't trade in digital games. You can trade it in and buy new games and keep, that cycle going. Like, if you don't care, that's fine. But there's still some value in that purchase you made. But when it comes to physical games or digital games, there's no value, because you can't trade in a digital copy. Companies have, obviously it being digital, it's not rare. There's no scarcity to it, unless companies purposely make them scarce, a la Nintendo, because they're so against anything to do with emulation and all that stuff, but yet they make it so hard to conveniently play their games. And again, that's the biggest benefit of digital gaming, is the convenience. So it's great that I'd be able to go back in time and play, or be able to play games from consoles I no longer have or no longer have out. Everybody's not like me. I understand that. You can't have, what do I have, like 12 systems hooked up at one time? Not everybody can do that. Not everybody wants to do that, Some people like their kind of neater, no clutter areas and whatnot. And you guys have seen my collection. If you haven't, you'll see it in the future, or you can go check out some videos that I've done. But I kind of want to talk about it, because recently the Sony thing happened, and I knew not to make a video on it because I felt like it was some kind of glitch based on the whole 1969 time thing, and there's an error and the licenses were expired because of the date, and I remember like that happened with me in my MacBook, where the battery was pretty much dead and it wouldn't hold the charge at all, and so all like the clock settings and all that stuff didn't hold. They would revert back to 1969 for some weird reason, same year. And so certain software wouldn't work, and certain, and I wouldn't be able to transfer to USB drives and whatnot, transfer to any kind of drive, hard drive, off of the computer or onto the computer until I reset that time. I had to reset it every time I turned the computer off and turned it back on. I had to reset that time. So it felt like a glitch, and apparently it was. Sony fixed it. So there was people, there's issues where people were worried about the fact that I'm trying to find my physical copy here. I hope I brought it up here. I did. Okay. So recently they remastered Chrono Cross. Here it is. I have a physical copy of it. They remastered this game, and the timing was very close to when your digital version of the game, the digital purchase on the PlayStation Store, expired, and it wasn't working anymore. The license wasn't working. So people thought, oh, they're taking it down because they want you to buy that janky, and it is janky, remaster, and again I say remastered version of Chrono Cross. And it seemed like something that was viable, because if you guys remember on Wii U, and I can't remember how many games did that, but on Switch, when they ported games over from Wii U to Switch, like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, you could no longer buy the Wii U version. They took it down from the store, so you couldn't buy it, and you had, which is weird to me, because hey, nobody bought a Wii U. Why would they even be worried about the fact that this was sitting here? I think it was probably optics, because people did complain and make the videos about, oh well, the Wii U version is $20. I think it's down to $20 or something. It was anyway on Wii U, and then obviously they're porting it over to the Switch, and it's $60. And so it made them look bad. And so people were thinking, oh, Chrono Cross, they were trying to forcing people to buy that. And recently with the Grand Theft Auto trilogy, remastered trilogy, Rockstar or whoever, maybe Take-Two, took down those games from PC. They took the original, ports of those original games down, so people would buy the remastered versions. And so it just seemed, again, that was anti-consumer to do that, and it just seemed something like what was going on. But like I said, I figured it was a glitch because of that date thing, and it was something that I was used to. So it is better for me, again, for me specifically, and I just think for consumers overall, to have a physical library. Now, again, I understand not everybody, especially trying to go right now and buy a physical library, is not really a viable option because things are so expensive. And if these companies weren't so anti-consumer, digital would be a better option. It would really be a better option because it's convenient, and you can play it on new hardware. You can play these older games on new hardware, and you won't have to have a clutter situation around your house. You want to have all these old games around your house. But the problem is this scarcity, and I say scarcity laughingly because or rarity is something that's manufactured by these companies who refuse to put these games out and a more viable, I won't say current gen, but more viable current fashion. And so you get these fans who basically become, how do I put it? Remaster drones? I don't know. And then everybody is like, oh man, I would love them to remaster this, remaster that, because they want to play these games that were great, still are great, but they want to play them in a more up-to-date kind of fashion, without, some of the issues. Maybe they want widescreen, or maybe they want the 60 frames and whatnot. And you would think those things would be easy to do, especially on new powerful hardware. But you have situations where, like, the remaster of this, and I don't know if they fixed it, but again, even if they did, I'll get to that, of SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, which is a fantastic 3D platformer, which probably got overlooked because it's a SpongeBob game and people didn't realize it was actually a really good 3D platformer. But yeah, so that game came out. The remaster of it was jank, and I actually held off playing because I didn't know. A friend of mine for years would tell me to get this game, because I was another person who overlooked it. He was telling me, you got to get SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. It is a great 3D platform. I was like, all right. So I finally ended up buying it, and then I heard that they're making a remaster of it. So I'm like, all right, I'll hold off and I'll buy that remaster. And I didn't, because the remaster was jank, and instead played the original. So that's why it's good to have that physical copy, because even when you get these remasterings, they're not all that great. Here's another one, Sonic Colors. I bought Sonic Colors, played the hell out of it, and beat it back in the day on Wii. Fantastic 3D Sonic game, one of the best. And they remastered it, and it had issues, right? And this is one of the most notorious ones. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Another game, I want to go back and revisit them, but I'm like, oh, they're making a remaster? Sure. I'll buy that and relive it on my newer hardware and get the bells and whistles. Nope. Another really bad remaster that didn't turn out well. And it's just like, you would think these things shouldn't be a thing because, again, newer hardware, more powerful hardware, but these are still issues, and I don't quite understand it. And then, there's I guess it's a leak where is it Bandai Namco is talking about hiring for a license or a Nintendo IP game, a remaster or remake of a old Nintendo game, and people are speculating And I heard one of the speculations being, or just somebody maybe wanting this, Wario World, which is a fantastic game made by Treasure. I think it was. I don't think it's on here. Yeah, it's not on here. But I believe it was Treasure that. I'm looking again. I'm looking a little bit more. Yeah, I don't see. Oh yeah, it's right there. Developed by Treasure. So it does say it. Yeah, developed by Treasure, which is, if you know Treasure, they make great games. And people are like, oh, I'd love a remake or remaster of that game. And when it comes to Nintendo, a lot of people want remasters of especially GameCube games, because there wouldn't be too much work to do such games. Because, a lot of them had traditional controls where a lot of Nintendo consoles and games of the past didn't. That does. And then you have, it's not viable to go out and buy this game today because it's super expensive. Chibi Robo. A lot of people love Chibi Robo, want a new one or a remaster of this one, and it's just not probably going to happen. Well, it hasn't happened, and it's hard to have the physical copy of this. So here's a situation where digital could help, or at least updating the game could help in any shape, even if it is a new physical game. It'd be great to have that, because buying a physical copy is super expensive today, and it's just not a viable thing. I think Skies of Arcadia is expensive too, at least Legends. It's another GameCube game, and I know this game is expensive. Fire Emblem, Path of Radiance. Excuse me, I'm about to burp and whatnot at the same burp and hiccup at the same time. But yeah, so again, another great game, another GameCube game that could benefit from digital. But there's issues again with remastering, but there's also just issues with having digital games, because a lot of them have these things where it's timed, or you have to worry about the internet and the servers and all this stuff. So where digital could be a nice, a nice companion to physical games. Think of like what happens with movies and stuff. You buy a physical movie and you get that digital copy of it as well. Why doesn't that happen for gaming? Why doesn't that happen with video games, where you get the digital copy and you get the physical copy as well? And that would be amazing. Like I think I would even pay more than $60 for that. I pay $10, maybe $20 more, for that option. That shouldn't be the only way it happens, but if you want the option to have a digital copy and a physical copy in that box, that's great. Like, I would totally pay more for that. Instead of forcing people basically to pay full price for both physical and digital. That just ain't it, Chief. Like that's not something I'm ever going to be down with. And a lot of times this does come to Nintendo, because Nintendo is the most stringent on their old games. But yeah, I have Omega Boost here. I'm not sure why I brought this, but Omega Boost by Polyphony Digital, the guys who make the Gran Theft Auto, the Gran Turismo games. This is like their only non-Gran Turismo game, I think. And it is fantastic. It is a mech space 3D action shooting game. Amazing. It has like kind of Star Fox kind of feel, like the all range mode stuff in Star Fox. Fantastic. And it's fast. I used to think it was 60 frames, but I recently saw Digital Foundry talk about it, and it's actually 30, but it was so fast it felt like it was 60. But anyway, so yeah, like there are so many issues when it comes to digital only. Now, obviously, I'm a Steam dude. Like, I have a Steam account. But the thing with me is I don't buy brand new Steam. I wait for sales. I don't buy brand new games on Steam. I buy games so cheap on Steam that if something happened to that game at some point, it really wouldn't bother me. And a lot of times, a lot of the Steam games, The bigger games that I have, I do have physically as well. So again, I can buy a game on Steam and buy a physical copy later, sealed, and just leave it sealed. So that is a benefit. But, you know, I'm getting a Steam Deck, obviously, as you guys know. And, you know, again, I just bought a Humble Bundle. I paid $40. Proceeds actually went to support Ukraine. So that was a no-brainer for me. So it was $40 for like 150 games. And again, if I lose some of those games at some point, it's not even going to bother me because I didn't pay that much for it. I paid less than you pay for a full price game for 150 games on Steam. So that's really good. That's a really good thing. That's where I feel digital games are the most beneficial because the price is cheaper. And that's what we don't have when it comes to new games. What is the justification for having a physical retail presence of a game with a disc and case, and you don't do manuals anymore, but with a disc and case be $60, and then the digital version also be $60? What is the benefit there? It just seems like they're being a little bit greedy on that point because again, they don't have the same expenses on the digital store that they have in the physical store. So I don't know what's gonna happen, man. I have enough games to where I'm cool. I don't need to, you know, all digital future. If it happens, it happens. I have a ton of physical games. I'm gonna have more by the time that actually happens. And so I'll have enough to play. I'm an old dude, so I'll have enough to play for the rest of my years. But you know, like I said, new gamers are being groomed to not care about these things, and it's just it's unfortunate. But it's not just new gamers. I know a lot of old guys, guys my age, close to my age, older than me even, who just don't want physical games cluttering up their area, and they're really happy having the digital libraries, which is great for them. I can't justify paying $60 for a digital game. It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't work for me. I just can't get past it. Mentally, I just can't get past purchasing a $60 game. I did it once on Wii U, and I totally regret it to this day. It still bothers me that I did that, and so I've never done it since. And so, yeah, I'll buy, you know, I'll go to eShop and get, you know, really cheap, you know, $5 games. Again, if something happens with Nintendo and they don't have those servers go away at some point, I had to spend that much on it, so it doesn't bother me. But that's why I'm not going to spend $60 because I don't trust these digital storefronts. I think Steam had some disclaimer where there was like, if something happens and we go out of business, we will have a way for everybody to download the games they bought. Valve just is a down-to-earth company. I actually do believe that they would do that. If you just, you know, if you've been a customer for a while, or you see what even they're doing with the Steam Deck, how on point they are, how quick they are to solve problems, I think they actually would do that. So I don't foresee an issue with that. Nintendo, come on, we already know that they're not going to cater to fans when it comes to that kind of stuff. Sony, they're not much better. Microsoft is a little better. At least they do allow you to use your old games and put them into your new system. That's one of my favorite things about the Series X, is that I can take my OG Xbox game, put it in there, and it recognizes it and it plays. And that's just fantastic. So this is a problem, and I hope somehow it gets rectified in the future. But yeah, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Oh, I actually wanted to show, and you have games that are just disappear, like Nintendo or whoever, anybody wants to get rid of them, like Poor Devil's Third here, which is again another super expensive game, at least the US version, super expensive. And I think you can't even download this game at this point, and of course in the future it's going to be completely gone.
and the digital presence. If you bought the game digitally and when your when your Wii U hard drive fails, it's over. And that's where the physical game comes in. I know there's issues where games will eventually rot. 99% of my games still work. I think I found one or two that had rotting issues, and some parts of the game didn't work. But for the most part, physical copy is a nice at least backup to have when these companies pull anti-consumer things and you have no other viable options. I'm going to do a video because I didn't show all of my PlayStation games, a lot of my RPGs here. So I'm going to do a video finishing my PlayStation collection on that. So look forward to that. And I'm also on Wednesday, which will probably be tomorrow based on when you see this video. I'm going to finally do my great Nintendo debate, or greatest Nintendo console debate, where we go over and discuss, is the Switch, because a lot of people are saying the Switch is the greatest Nintendo console, and what do I think about that? What do I think? You got to show up for that. Live debate is going to be live, so I think it's going to be around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so check it out. But thanks again, guys, for watching. Listen, let me know what you think in the comments below about this physical versus digital thing. It's going to be a battle to the end of time, or at least till there's no more physical games. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks again for watching and listening, and now see you fools next time. Peace out.